I guess I would have to judge it was the grace of God for one thing. As far as why it was an Easter action. I think it was Holy Thursday. I think that I had acted, and thinking of Good Friday, and that somehow then the first of the year with the Holy Innocents action, then actually serving a 1 year of sentences total. Huh? Now, why? It may have been that maybe part of it was the frustration of going to meetings, writing letters, writing to the paper, and these things, and somehow just feeling like I was spinning wheels. So at this point, I say it probably was the grace of God only. I'm not sure, huh? But that maybe some other things that would have actually entered in was the fact that having done what I could do, and there was nothing else, nothing else that I could do personally. I guess after seeing a lot of folks in the third world starving and knowing the facts, somehow feeling very, 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 very frustrated about what to be done. And the fact is that I guess it was mostly the grace of God that somehow this year, that 1 year of sentences, was the best year of my life. Feeling very close to myself and God and all humanity. And yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just got this obscure message right here. You see the Swiss position. Is that better? Mine, it seems to me his face is going to be shattered. Well, this lighting is actually a lot better.
Okay.
You want to go any further than that?
It's very hard to say why, I'll be honest with you. I don't know why.
Can I ask you what that prison term was in relationship to?
There were two 6-month sentences for peace witness at the Pentagon, that they were joined together. So it was a 1 year of sentences, 2 sentences which were joined one to the other. Huh? And I served about 9.5 or 10 months because of good time, had some knocked off.
One of the interesting things that came out of this recent action seems to be that you and Elmer and a few of the others were put in Montgomery County Jail, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the opportunity to leave at a certain point and decided that you'd rather stay in. So
not really. Our thought from the start was the fact we'd be happy to leave at any time if we were actually released unconditionally. That is, to say going home, we'd have gone home. That is, basically the charges dropped because we were not the criminals. GE was the criminal, huh? And this was the thought of all 8 of us, huh? But then because of reasons in regard to Dan's health and then the women being moved from here to there and whatever, and so we had to, to basically alter that somewhat. So that at the time when the DA had asked the judge for that we would be released on our own recognizance, which we had to sign. So we said, no, we're not going to sign that we're going to return because we, So therefore, then about 2 weeks later, that the judge made an order that actually threw us out. Huh? But we said, no, that the is not just. Why would not such be actually handled actually handed to the other 300 people? We had the highest bail of all the folks except one. I know one person had higher bail. But if they could offer us that, why couldn't they offer the same thing to all of the rest of them? And so we said no, that the system is not just, and we refuse to be any part of it. So we refused to sign. And then the second thing, about a week or two later, that the judge signed the order and actually would have, that they would have carried us out if we hadn't walked. Because I know I was called in, and the man says, "Hey, all over 2 men sitting there," and I said, "I'm not going to sign anything. You don't have to sign anything." He handed me a sheet of paper, and I said, "I'm not going to take it." He said that you don't have to take it. You're out. So that's the way it was.
Why do you think they changed their minds?
Well, it's a very difficult thing when actually truth is spoken. It starts to grate, and that they were being hit from truth from the jail, from folks around. The fact is that truth was being spoken, and it started to be shining light, and that light in such places is really not liked, and so they just wanted us out. Period. I had a rather interesting experience in 70 No, in actually 80, I was let out for a month by accident from Washington, D.C. jail. I was serving 11 months of sentences. And the Pope was to appear in Washington, and about 3 or 5 days before that, I was let out by accident. I had a 9-month sentence hanging over me, and I had served a month or two. I didn't know what happened. It was a complete accident.
What do you do in prison, if I may ask, that keeps your spirit so lively? You talked about joy.
Reading, writing, prayer, meditation, sharing. There's never enough time. It sounds strange because I don't want any more time, huh? But it's a true fact that there's not enough time to do all the things that I would like to do, or that ought to be done. Because I've had about 6 or 7 chapters of a book written that I have not yet for the last year or two been able to actually finish, because there has never been enough time with the correspondence and the sharing and the reading and the writing and prayer and things like that. You just don't have time. And if you're in a place where you're actually forced to work from, let's say, 7:30 till 3:30, you're kind of tired. Although it's make work, but you're still tired. And so you write, you'd write your letters and read and pray, and there's just not enough time. So what keeps the spirits up? The sisterhood, brotherhood, the sharing, the trying to be seeing what God's will is, and I guess that's it, huh?
We were curious about the actual events that led up to the action at GE, and a real kind of clear description of what took place there, too. We were hoping that you could kind of fill us in on how it all kind of pieced together.
Well, that you're not wanting what happened before, but just what happened during. Well, actually, see that the action was to happen in May. That I was told in Washington D.C. jail, I was there, and I was maybe going to get out on May the 10th, and so that May the 30th it was planned, huh? And that was canceled. I also got 2 months added on to my sentence, huh? So I couldn't have joined, huh? So then it was planned for the 6th or the 9th of August. And I was released on June the maybe 20th, and my brother had a heart attack and might have died, so I said I couldn't join. But then it was postponed because it could not get together, so it was then to happen on September 9th, which it finally did. On the 8th it was planned, and we finally got it together on the 9th, in a sense. Huh? So what happened there was that Anne and myself, that she had walked in and said, I'm a nunce, and that she actually introduced me, and I said, "Hi, I'm Father Carl Kabat," and we were sitting there talking, and these other 5, 6 just right on in, huh? And the guy, hey, you can't go in there, and they were in. Huh? So then he had gone to the door and came back and grabbed the phone from Anne and started calling him. I had tried to reach over to that button on the phone, he pulled it away, so that was it, huh? So I stood there, and so I thought, well, there's nothing here. So I walked in the door and turned right and walked a little bit, about 4 or 5 steps, and turned left, and I looked, and he was coming. So I knelt down right there. And I said, brother, we're just here as a nonviolent witness for peace. Don't be frightened, et cetera, et cetera. You can't stand it. You got to get out of this. So he actually lifted me up by the arm, and we walked out to the, actually in between these 2 doors. I knelt down once more. Then he went to the phone. In the process, I had a hammer in here, so I slipped it out. I was kneeling down and slipped it out. And then he, after he finished phoning, came and said, "You can't stand it. That you have to be getting out." So he actually helped me up once more and led me outside, and then locked the door. He locked me out. I said, "Well, please, I'd like to join the other 7. No, you. So he locked me out, and so that Dan was then, I guess, walking down the aisles, the corridors, and somebody found him and led him out, and actually locked him out too. So we were there. I said, "Dan, what happened?" "I don't know, huh?" But I had heard the banging. I don't know what they were hitting. I wasn't sure, huh? Bang, bang, bang. So they then brought the other 6 in between these 2 sets of doors, and so we were singing and praying there, from the outside and the inside. The cops came. They let Dan and I into the van, and then I'm not sure who came in next. What happened? "We got it. You got it. Yeah, we got 2 nose cones. Wow. It was just like, because not say we almost knew about as much as you know of the plant now. It was, in my judgment, it's the grace of God only that got us in. And that they were able to find these cones, and we prayed, and we had faith. We believed that it would happen. Why? I'm not sure, you know. But we did believe we had full confidence, but no knowledge. And it did happen. So it was a very beautiful, like Elmer Maas is quoted as saying, the greatest day of my life, and that was for him, and it was a real beautiful day. Huh?
So you had no pre-knowledge of the actual layout of the
A little bit. We had a phone directory map, that's all.
So you didn't even really know where the nose cones would be?
No. It was like, you know, like a phone book has a map of the city. Well, a GE phone book had plant number 9 and some hallways, but as far as what doors would be open, if any, because we thought we might just only reach that second set of doors, so we then kneel down maybe pour blood on the door posts and kneel there, and that might be it. That's as far as we might get. But we were able to actually go further. It was that the guard there was, you know, with the clerical collar and Sister Ann there, and just, he had worked 8 hours. He was tired. He was reading the paper when we walked in, and, you know, I was kind of surprised, basically. And so that the rest of them went in. He was flabbergasted, didn't know what to be doing. And it happened that they found, see, they got into this room, they looked around, there was nothing, And so I guess John found, hey, there's one here. He found a box that was crated, and he opened it up. There's one here. So they got banging on it, and John was looking around. He found another one. So they banged those two, and then poured blood on them. I mean, that's what I hear, because I wasn't in there. I have never yet seen those nose cones. And then they formed a circle around them, singing and praying. They laid their hammers down, singing and praying. And then they came in, and they actually brought them out to the front, just kind of ushered them out as a group, you know. And that was it.
When did you rejoin the group?
Well, we were all well, actually, until they were put in the paddy wagon, I was separated from them. See, I had never gone in to actually see the nose cones.
You got locked out.
Yeah.
And you rejoined the group when they were put in the building.
How did you happen to be chosen for the group?
Well, it wasn't a matter of chosen. See, that may have been part of the actual difficulty in May, that we couldn't find, you know, some women in particular. I had known about it probably about 6 months, a year already, after, you know, way back, because we had actually talked about it, the possibility, maybe, trying to get it, and like I say, it was planned for May, and it didn't happen, and for August.
Of this particular action?
Yes. And it just didn't gel. There was just things that we, you know, there was even the thought of trying to find out what was on the inside of the plant by having somebody go in as a flower deliverer to maybe be able to walk in and say, well, that there are flowers for such and such a person. But that didn't happen. I thought, well, that would be that they wouldn't let that happen. And trying to find some way to maybe get into that somebody could find out, you know what was there, but we never had anyone who felt that it was a possibility of trying to find out what the inside looked like. So we never had anyone in there.
But the particular 8 people, why these 8?
There were supposed to be 9 anyway, and one person felt that they could not go through with it. I think maybe at the start there may have only been 3 or 4 of us. And then somehow it got to be 8, and I'm not sure why, because when I was in jail that May, I think there may have been 3, 4, 5 of us. On the August thing, I'm not sure what the number was, but somehow that asked this person and asked that person. Of course, again, you have to be kind of, you know, you can't be just open and say, an ad in the paper say 9 people or maybe 16 people wanted for GE peace witness, So you ask folks and so that this one said yes, and 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 so we had a group that was there, and that there were 9 actually, and one said no, and there were 8 of us. I'm being called to be going, so if it's possible, I hate to. Sure. Okay. God bless. You're welcome.
Thanks, very much. We'll see you again.
Yeah.
Good luck tomorrow.
See the sun, that's all behind us. It's too far gone now to see. Crying's over, yes it's done. Crying's over, ain't you glad?
I'd also like to be having tomorrow, court will be in session all day long and for the evening, so we will be having a candlelight vigil outside the courthouse from 7:30 to 10, and the office will be open for coffee and tea. Ash Wednesday, we will have a 9 o'clock service at 711 DeKalb Street, to which you are all invited, and at which the defendants, as many as possible, will be present. As the week continues, we will be continuing the festival in the evenings, contingent upon the schedule of the court, and that festival will take place at Mount St. Joe's Academy in Florida, and you can follow the office for directions there, or look in your map. It's north of Chestnut Hill and east from the meeting. I can give you better directions later on. And we will be meeting here at the same hours that we will be meeting here, 7:30 to approximately 9:30 on Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, however long the job continues. And we would very much like you to